Well, good evening, everyone. How are you? Hey! Excellent. Excellent. Nice to be here on a cold Thursday night, isn't it? Where it's nice and warm, and you're always welcome to the Collin County Republican Men's Club. If you're excited to be here tonight, go ahead and give yourselves a round of applause. So, this evening, we want to take this opportunity to welcome you to the January meeting 2022. Yeehaw! Hard to believe, isn't it? We're almost 2/3 of the way done with the first month of January of 2022. So, welcome aboard. We are very fortunate tonight that we are going to have one of our elected officials. I would like to ask State Representative Candy Noble if she would please come forward and lead us in the invocation.
Thank you for inviting me. Please join me in prayer. Father, we are just so grateful. Oh my goodness, we have so much to be thankful for. Thank you for a nation where we can openly pray to you. Father, I do pray that you would bless our nation, that you would bless our state, that you would give us wisdom in how we conduct ourselves so that we're on your path in every way. I pray that the words that we say, the very thoughts that we have would be in line with your word, and that through us you will work to make Texas a wonderful place to live and work and raise a family. Thank you, Father, for this club. I ask you to bless them, their work, help them be successful because they're under you as well. And I ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing. At this time, I would like to ask our Vice President-elect, Mr. Eric Nowak, please come forward and to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag.
Please join me in saluting the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Eric. This time, the great Fred Nazary, please come forward and lead us in the flag, pledge allegiance to the Texas flag.
I'd be honored. Please join me, Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Yeehaw! Come on,
Well, we want to thank you guys for all being here this evening. You know, this is the Collin County Republican Men's Club, but don't be fooled by the name. We have many full members of ladies, women who are invited to be part of this club, and we want you to know that this is a club that's been in Collin County for more than 50 years. It's been an ongoing entity for the Collin County Republican Men's Club, the traditional conservative club that we support traditional conservative Republican values, and we would encourage you to join if you're not already a member. It's only $25 for the entire year, and we also do have sponsorships that are available, just to let you guys know that. So we're not here to necessarily be a great fundraiser, but we just would like to encourage you to be part of this ongoing club. It's a very important club. We pride ourselves. There's not much drama, but there's a lot of education that we do here in the men's club. So thank you all for being here. The first thing that we want to do is that we want to recognize and introduce to you the Collin County Republican Men's Club Board of Trustees. These individuals are responsible for the kind of overall direction of the men's club. They're kind of like a think tank, so to speak, is how I like to refer to them. And at this time, I would like these gentlemen to please come forward and to stand here because they're going to be sworn in tonight as trustees of the Republican Men's Club. I would first like to ask our immediate past president, Robbie Jane, please come forward. Robbie?
You put me on the last one.
Thank you, Robbie. Richard Dodson, please come forward. Thank you, Richard. Mark Rutledge, who is not here, he's actually recovering from COVID, but he's doing very well. But talked with me, and he's not here this evening, but Mark Rutledge. Many of you all know Mark. He's been a long, long time member and very active in Republican Party for probably 25 years. Neil Katz is also one of our trustees. Neil is also not able to be here this evening, but you all know that he is the executive director for the Collin County Republican Party. And I'd like to ask Delar Height. Delar, please come forward. And Delar is our director of technology for the Republican Men's Club. So, gentlemen, at this time, I would like you to please face forward. Raise your right hand if you would, please. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Ravi Jain,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office of trustee
the duties of the office of trustees
of the Collin County Republican Men's
of
Club,
the Collin County Republican Men's Club,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my abilities,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and of this state
and
and
of
of the
this state,
state,
and of the Men's Club of Collin County.
and of the Men's Club of Collin County.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you, gentlemen. So this evening, we have a few remarks right before we get into the real meat of the evening. We have some announcements. How many of you all are planning to go on Thursday?
John,
Yes, sir.
if someone hasn't signed in, please sign in and get your ticket, because some people walked in and just walked past.
Yes, if you haven't signed in, you need to make sure you do, but mainly to encourage you, you will receive a ticket like this. And this ticket could be the ticket that you've been waiting all day for. This is for a special drawing at the end. If you come to Men's Club, you know that we have a special drawing. Normally we give out gift cards for those and for restaurants usually, but sometimes it's other things. So make sure you get your ticket, sign in, we want to have a record of your attendance here, so thank you. So how many of you all are planning to attend Lincoln Day 2022? If you are, raise your hand. That's not nearly enough of you. Okay? Lincoln Day dinner is really kind of like the highlight of all the Republican activities in Collin County all in one night. It is the primary fundraiser. It's a gala that takes place. Some people like to say that, you know, it's a big extravaganza. This year, it will be taking place on Thursday evening, February 24th at South Fork Ranch. And so you're encouraged to, if you like, to wear your cowboy hats and boots and jeans, or if you want to be formal, you can wear your tux with a cowboy hat, whatever. And we are very fortunate. This year, we have, by all accounts, everybody says they're really looking forward to it. Our featured speaker at Lincoln Day is Glenn Beck. And of course, he's a little controversial at times, but that's all right, because, you know, we like controversy sometimes, right? So, Thursday, February 24th. To get your tickets, you will go just to the actual website for the CollinCountyGOP.org website, and it pops right up. You can order your tickets. But also, by the way, the Men's Club traditionally has usually 3, sometimes 4 tables. We're always one of the clubs that has the most number of tables that members like to join together, and we'll be sitting. So if you don't know a lot of people, hey, you're always welcome at the Men's Club table. And I say that in 100% honesty and sincerity. So Eric, where's Eric? Raise your hand, wherever Eric is, right here. Eric is coordinating the tables. So if you want to be sit at the Men's Club table, then contact Eric, and he'll get your name and number, and you'll just write your checks out, actually payable not to the Men's Club, but to the Collin County Republican Party, but we'll coordinate all of that. So we're already getting, we've already filled up, I think, what, 2 tables already, Richard? So it's going to be a lot of fun that night. If you've never been to or dinner on that evening, You'll like that because we have live auctions, we've got silent auctions, we've got a lot of things, there's a VIP lounge, etc. So what day is that again? February 24th, Thursday night. Please write this down. On Saturday, March 5th. By the way, when is the primary election? March 1st. March 1st. So 4 days later, on the 5th, every precinct, there's about 250 precincts in Collin County, will be holding their precinct conventions all at the same time, at the same location, right here in Collin County. So if you live in Collin County and you're a Republican, you need to be at those precinct conventions. Your precinct will be holding a convention. That is where the grassroots start. That's where you'll be able to pass resolutions. That's where you're going to be able to elect delegates to the senatorial conventions. At the senatorial conventions, that's where you elect delegates to the state convention. It all starts, though, at the precinct, the grassroots precinct conventions. Yes, sir, Jimmy?
So, John, we're allowed to go because it's not like the precinct chair meetings where, you know, you only can go for a little bit and then they don't want you
No,
there.
and very good question, Jimmy. In fact, it will be the opposite of that. You are absolutely encouraged to go to the precinct conventions. And by the way, that's where everybody will all meet together. They'll break down into the individual precincts. Whatever precinct number you live in, if you don't know, that's okay. They'll tell you exactly what precinct you live in, but show up. It's going to be at the Preston Ridge campus. That's in Frisco, Collin College Conference Center in Frisco. Big, nice conference center. Everybody's going to meet there. There'll be tables for check-in and all. Registration starts at 9 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, March 5th. You'll be there at your precinct convention. You'll have your meeting. You're going to elect yourself as a delegate to the senatorial convention, right? I mean, you're just kind of like levels goes up. How many Senate districts are there in Collin County? Three of them, absolutely correct. And for the first time, all three of those conventions will be taking place at the same time, at the same location. So before, you had to worry about, well, what SD am I in? Where is that meeting? Is it a different time, etc. Done away with all that. All one location, one time. It's going to be at the brand new Wiley Conference Center of Collin College. Okay, and that is going to be on Saturday, the 26th of March. So it's 3 weeks after the precinct convention. But guess what, guys? At the precinct convention, that's where you elect yourself and the other people in your precinct to be a delegate to the senatorial convention, right? How many of you all have ever attended a senatorial convention? Okay, good number of you. It's a lot of fun. You're going to see at the senatorial conventions, you're going to get a lot of folks coming there. A lot of the elected officials will be there. Statewide office holders will be there. It's a lot. You're going to be voting on the actual platform of the Republican Party for the SDs there. Those are then given to the state to go to the state convention. So at the SD convention, when does that take place? The senatorial convention, what day did it tell you? March 26th, that's right. Saturday, March 26th. And then, if you're lucky enough to be elected as a delegate to the state convention, that happens this year in Houston, and that's going to be in June. But I don't want to talk about that too much yet, because I want you to attend your precinct convention on the 5th, and then your SD convention on the 26th.
But clarification, but you have to attend the senatorial convention to go to the state. To get on the list to be a delegate to the state convention, you need to attend.
You need to attend, and you need to be sure and actually fill out the form to be nominated. So in a few instances, if you're sick or can't be there, as long as you're elected as a delegate from the senatorial convention, you would be able to go to the state convention. But in 99% of the time, if you don't show up, then you don't get elected. Yes, sir.
You get the application at the precinct convention.
That's an excellent point. So when you attend those precinct conventions that everybody in this room is going to do on the 5th, you're going to receive in that packet at your little precinct convention, you will see there is a form that you fill out that says, I want to be a delegate to the state convention. and you fill all of that out, and you turn that back in. Sounds a little maybe complicated, but it's very easy, guys. It's a lot of fun. You know, if you've been to these conventions, you know that there's a lot of camaraderie that goes on there, and I really encourage you to attend that, to be there. Yes, Robbie?
These days we can do mail-in voting. So can I, if we're not going to be here on March 5th, can we request that form so we can fill it out?
Robbie, good try, but the answer is no. In these, you need to show up to be there in terms of voting, like on, if you vote for your delegates and things like that, okay?
Voter ID is required, right?
Yeah, you'll want, when you go there, they're gonna ask you for your ID, you know, this is the Republican Party, by the way. Yes,
You
sir.
can get the application for the state convention, though.
You can get one of those here, actually, yes. So, we're going, you know, I'm giving you a lot of information here, but you guys need to be sure and be part of that. I mean, this is really the grassroots. This is where it all starts. This is where you get elected, you know, to your precinct convention, the SD, and that's the senatorial convention, to the state convention, and then on the years where there's a presidential election at the state convention, that's where you elect the delegates to the national convention. So, Candy, you've been a delegate to the national convention. You know, it's quite an experience, isn't it?
Yes.
So,
Where are the precinct conventions held?
precinct conventions are going to be at the Preston Ridge campus of Collin College in Frisco on Saturday, March 5th. So, yes, John?
Will any of that also be put in the Collin County, the weekly newsletters?
Yes, it absolutely will be, and in fact, I know that Abraham tonight, our keynote speaker, will be talking a little bit about those and some of the things that's going on in terms of getting all that word out through our communications committee. So that's all getting ready just to really gear up and happen. The last thing I want to tell you guys, and then we're going to go straight in to the introduction of our keynote speaker, and that is that there are some excellent candidate debates that are going to be taking place. And that is on February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Okay, that's a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and they begin at 6 o'clock in the evening. And many of the candidates that are in this room are going to be taking place in that forum. And on each night, there's going to be different races that will be highlighted in these forums. And that will start at 6 o'clock on Tuesday night, 6 o'clock Wednesday night, 6 o'clock Thursday night. And that's going to be at the Higher Education Center of Collin College, which is located at 75 and 121. Okay, in the boardroom there. It's a big, nice room, first floor. And there's a lot that goes into these type of forums. And there'll be a lot of people there. I know I heard yesterday that they've already got like, well over 100, I think it's 140 people registered for that. So I think they're going to be very well attended. There's some interesting races going on, right? So, all right. So folks, those are the President's remarks and announcements. At this time, I want to take the opportunity to introduce to you our featured keynote speaker. Now, this gentleman, who I'm going to introduce to you, is no stranger to Collin County. And last year, of course that wasn't that long ago, was it? But last year, he was elected as the new chairman of the Collin County Republican Party. Abraham George has served in several major capacities for the Republican Party, including most recently, Abraham served as the Senate District 8 representative on the State Republican Executive Committee, where he represented Collin County Senate District 8 to the state party. He did a fabulous job there and gained much recognition, and was also one of the committee chairs of the SREC, as it's called. Abraham is a very successful business owner. I know he doesn't like it when I say this, but if you don't believe me, just go check his car that he drives, okay? Abraham, you know I can say that. So. But he's a very successful business owner, a family man, and a servant leader. Very much so that he is. Abraham was born and raised in India, and many years ago, he and his family legally immigrated to the United States in 1996. He's married to Gina, a wonderful lady who my wife and I know very well. She's a registered nurse, Gina is, and they have 2 school-aged children. This evening, Abraham, for the first time, is going to be presenting to you for your review and for your perusal and questions and all, but he's going to be laying out the plans and action of Victory 2022 for Collin County. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend, I'm glad to introduce to you our chairman, Abraham George.
I want John to introduce me every time.
You need some walk-up music.
I'm gonna using the PowerPoint to show you guys some graphs and stuff, and hopefully you won't fall.
Is that your car?
That would be nice. Wouldn't that be nice? One day. All right. So I want to talk to you about 2020, and then we'll go into 2022. Let's talk about the problem first, right? So a lot of these data came together by our data team, and I want to give a shout out to Dave Stoner and his team for putting this together. They did a lot of work to figure out most of these issues and where we have problems and things like that. All right. So I won't be able to answer all of this, but I want to give you guys at least answer some of these. How did Collin County Republicans do in 2020 election, right? Is Collin County turning blue? That's a big question in everybody's mind, right? So I just want to talk about that. Did Democrats vote by mail? That's how many of them did that, and all those stuff. So let's go into the data. So this is the Collin County wins and loses. We did not lose a single seat in 2020 election, right? Every seat, from President Trump all the way to our constables and our judges, we won every seat in Collin County. There's not a single seat that we lost. These are the seats comparing to national or state level that we lost overall, but obviously we lost the presidential election, we lost the appeals court 8, congressional district 32, Collin all red, and all those. So these are the seats that we lost. Most of them kind of overlapped with other. There are other reasons why we lost those seats, right? Not Collin County. Okay, so this is the presidential election 2020. We were positive. We were 4.4% higher than Democrats. So President Trump got 4.4% more than Joe Biden. That's the total numbers. Now I want to compare that to the state level. In overall state of Texas, President Trump got 5.6% higher than Joe Biden. But in Collin County, he only got 4.4%. So comparing to the rest of the state, we didn't do very good. We were minus 1.2. Senate race. So in Collin County, so Collin got additional 11.7%. He got a lot more than President Biden did. Collin won, means he got a lot more votes from Collin County people than President Trump got. Okay. Comparison to Congress. And this, we're talking about Van Taylor, congressional area, Collin Oliver, obviously we lost 14.7% on congressional race. We only got 4.4 when it comes to President Trump. So these are hard numbers. We're not making up numbers, right? These are things that we're looking at. We all love President Trump, but this is what he got in Collin County. So I want to go into big number changes. So you see that one over there, CD4 is a huge hike. And then we've got, basically almost every unopposed races, or I didn't put that in there. There's a high consistency between all of our judges. And you can see that from, there's a high consistency. You see all of those are our judges. They're about the same consistently. Then CD4, then everything else looks about the same. And you can see 66 and 67, there's a huge dip. That was Jeff Leach and Matt Shaheen. Then that's Candy, and then we have Sanford and all that. So 66 and 67 were very close. Presidential race kind of trailed all the other races in vote margin. So now, this is another one. So look at all the precincts. In HD 33, all of these precincts did about 30% or so. And in HD 66 and 67, that was for a lot of Biden supporters in those districts. In HD 70 and 89, you're looking at about 10% Trump is a lot more. These are 30% Trump. So you can see the vote margin. 33 had plus 9.7. You had 66 and 67. You had minus, and then you had the 70 and 89, which was decent, but no double-digit margins. 33, not so much. Oh, almost there.
Abraham,
Yes, sir.
do you have numbers for 2016?
I do, but not on this chart.
I mean, were the
we did
16
compare
numbers
that.
better than 20?
Yes.
So
16
it
numbers
has-
were better than 20, yes.
Presidential, yes, but he lost ground. 16.
Right, so in 16 presidential, President Trump got a lot more support from Collin County than in 2020. But Jeff Leach and Matt Shaheen got a lot more support in 2020 than in 16. 18, not 16. So 18 to 2020, in 18 they were about 1,000, barely 1,000. And Matt Shaheen was like 340 or something like that. And
Positive.
yeah, positive. Yeah, that's close. Then in 2020 they were about 3,000. So it wasn't that bad. They gained some, right? And one of the things, it's not in this deal. If all the people voted for President Biden, if they would have gone down the list and start voting for our HDs and our judges, Matt Shaheen would have lost. Because in his district, Biden got somewhere 9,000 more votes than he did. So if they had come, or Republicans might have switched and supported Biden. We don't know.
A lot of anti-Trump.
Right, there's a lot of anti-Trump. So those are the numbers. So here's you can tell by looking at, this is divided by city. Look at Plano. Plano's gone Democrat, in a way, if you look at it. It's minus 20%. Then 61, McKinney is, it's still up. And you can see all the small cities are red, and the big cities like Allen is getting there, Frisco is there, Dallas and Richardson. So they're turning bluish. And this is only Collin County voter data. Okay, so when I look at this, we're looking at hard Democrats and soft Democrats and hard Republican and soft Republican, right? What that means is hard Democrats means they've voted twice, at least twice, in Democrat primary and never crossed over to Republican. And the same category was put together for Republicans as well. If they voted at least twice in Republican primary in the last 10 years, they're considered hard Republican and should never cross over to Democrat side, right? So Plano is minus 9.7%, McKinney is plus 7%, Allen minus 1, Frisco is minus 3, then you have Wiley plus 12, Dallas minus 14.
These are hard numbers, you said?
Yeah. Then the people who didn't support anybody, we took them as this general population, independent, I guess. So this is where we are at as far as Collin County is. So you can see Fannin is 64% Republican. We are 4.4%. Comparatively, the difference between us and Democrats, right? Hunt, Denton is doing better than us, 8.2%, plus 8.2%, right? Tarrant is, this last term, Tarrant went minus. So that, and Dallas is minus 32, essentially 32% on their side. Ellis, Kaufman, and Rockwall it's not too bad, but they're not like 50 and 60% like Parker and Weiss and on it. So, okay, who voted and when did they do it, right? So, who voted for Biden? Right?
Yeah.
So the breakdown on the right is based on the primary voters, right? The hard R's have voted at least twice in Republican primaries and never in a Democrat primary. Soft R's have voted at least one time in Republican primary and never crossed over. Same category for Democrats. And then you have a crossover, which is about 1%, not too bad. People going back and forth. True independence, I guess. Profile by age, something we really should pay some attention to. The no vote, the green is no votes, right? They're not part of any group, any primaries. So you can see people who is not part of any primary is the major people. This is, they don't come for Republican or Democrat primary. They just come for the general elections. That's it. They don't care about the others. Then you can see that barely minimum red line? That's the hard Republicans under age 30. Very few people.
They haven't gotten smarter.
Yeah, that's that. Or we haven't made any money. Or we have reached them with a message that they can either Here at 70 plus, that's a big chunk. You see that? So, and it gets smaller and smaller. It's consistent, at least. As they get older, or so that's a problem. And it's the same thing with the Democrats too. You look at I mean, you have soft Democrats, and that's it's smaller too. Then you have the crossover is getting bigger as they get older. They're like, we're not sure which. It depends on the year. They're going back and forth. People are just confused about politics.
When you're talking about the crossover, are you talking about mixed ballots?
No. So let's say
or they have
a person voted in the Democrat primary in 2016, and 2018 they decided I'm done with the Democrats. They came to Republican. And then in 2020 they're like, I'm going back to Democrat. So it's the people who are going back and forth because they're not quite sure which party they align with.
So how do you determine the soft versus the hard?
Say it again?
What's the difference between that and the hard? I mean, the soft and the hard. The hard is more than multiple votes?
The soft we categorize them if they only showed up one time in the last 4 cycles. Right. Like Democrats, when President Trump ran, there are people who just think, I'm excited about this, I'm going to go vote for it. Then they never show up afterwards in the primaries. So that's considered a soft R, because you can't count them every time we have an election. But people who are showing up every time there is an election, regardless of what election, and in the Republican side, counting them as hard Republicans. Same for some Democrats as well. There's a clear move with age to the Republican Party. It could be, like you said, they're getting smarter, or and I think it's a combination. Because as people pay taxes and gain more money, they think about, oh, what's going on with my money? So they think about that. Then the other part is, as when they're younger, when they're in college, and we can blame the public institution for all of this, but when they're in college and they're in their early 20s and maybe even to the middle 20s, the Republican Party usually does not identify with them. There's really, even our websites don't identify with them. You know, there's no, because they're, yes, it's shallow, it's not the hard values, but you know, if you ask a 25-year-old at Collin College or UTD, what are the issues? Most of them, the first thing they will say is global warming. Most of them, that's what comes to their mind. Is this Earth is going to be here? I mean, idiots like AOC is pushing that so much, and we don't have a message that that counters something like that, and media is against us, so that makes it even worse, right? So, profile by gender, right? Hard R's. So if you look at both women and men, it looks about the same color, but in this one, that's the cut line, the line. You can see that. So the bottom part is the ladies, and the top part is the guys. This is 47% men, 39%, 46%, and it's interesting. It is, men get turn to more Republican as they get older. So that's one thing we can see. The primary voter trend, not a lot of data in there. It's going all the way to 2010. So if we can, in 2010 we had 40,000 people vote for Republicans in primary, and in 2020 only 69,000 voted, 70,000 let's say. In Democrats only 4,000. Here 84,000. So in the primary, so there's more people identifying themselves as Democrats in Collin County than they're identifying as Republicans. So huge difference in the way that.
That's in 2 years.
That's in 10 years.
Well, I'm looking at the previous year.
Yes, yeah. So there's a huge, I mean, 20 every time there's a presidential, then you see a lot higher jump. Okay. Under 30, 4,563 people in votes, right? Here, 76,000 people in 2020. So it's not like the young people are not coming to the polling booths; they're just not coming to vote for Republicans. So in summary of the observations, there was a drop in 3% from Donald Trump from 2016 to 2020. So he had 8.6% increase in the vote share for Democrats. So election turnout on their side from 32% to 62%. On our side, it only went up 24%. When you look at the percentile-wise, our numbers were bigger. So when you look at the percentile, it doesn't go up so much, even though the numbers are bigger. So it's not all bad. So what do we need to do in Victory 2022? We cannot, and beyond, we cannot just count on the known Republicans and think that we can win elections going forward. We might be able to do it in 2022 because there's a lot going on around our country. I mean, so Biden is the most hardworking person for Republicans. He's getting his votes every day. So, but that's not a sustainable thing that we can count on every election cycle. Going forward, we should be able to sell the Republican values and our platform that it is good for everyone, for younger people, for older people, regardless of your gender, race, whatever it is. It has to be good enough for everyone to buy. And that's one thing we as Republicans have to think about when we put our platform together. When we put 400 items into a platform and has milk and all of that stuff in there, it doesn't relate to most people. We have to have core issues, core major issues that attack their daily life when they go to grocery shopping or going to work. That's what needs to be part of it. That should be our major message. Okay, how are we supporting people to make their life better? How are we making their lives better on a daily basis? And the other part is we need to be able to recruit great Republicans who can win elections. You know, Monday CEC meeting, some of you were there. One of the things that I kept saying is, and it wasn't part of any issue or anything like that, it was as part of my chairman's update, is local elections are coming up in May. We have to get behind candidates who will win elections. You know, the person have to be electable. The person have to be a good conservative, good values, must be a Republican. All of that is important. All of that is extremely important. But that person, we should be able to elect that person too. We get behind a person and put our logo and say this person is endorsed by the Republican Party of Collin County. We better make sure that person wins the election. We have to do everything we can to make sure we do that. We get that one. So that's one of the things. So this is not part of victory, but school boards, city councils, and college trustees are important races because a lot of people start there. That's where they run first. They run at their school board or city council, then they run for state house, then they run for Congress, or you know, they go. Usually, people get, you know, they build their brand name and name recognition as they run for different things. And we have to work on school boards and city councils as a county party. I know it's a nonpartisan election. We should be able to get behind a really good candidate and make sure that person wins. And if we get them elected, they will work with us instead of slamming them throughout our entire election cycle. They will work with us, and if they don't, we can always get them out. There is elections. I mean, nobody's there forever. There's the biggest, longest cycle is 6 years, right? So, Victory 2022 active. What are we going to do, right? So from March, April, and May, we will have walk coming from here, headquarters, every Saturday. That's already set up. We have dates set up. Then from June onwards, we will do multi-city block walk because it's not only about Plano, right? So every time somebody comes here, then you know you don't go to Prosper to block walk from Plano. So it has to be multi-city, and we will coordinate with other cities and areas to do that, and that will go every week from June to November. Banking, this year we're probably going to do every phone bank offline, not from headquarters, mainly because this campaign sidekick can't do that. You can just go home and dial it, turn it on, and we'll have the whole thing loaded into the phone, and all you have to do is start one time and people just keep answering. And we have about 120 volunteers we have identified so far that said yes to phone banking from this week onwards. So we're making calls to talk about primary elections. Hey, there's a primary election coming up, things like that, just giving them information. But once the primaries are over, March 2nd and after, if there is no runoff, we will get behind those candidates and make sure they have enough exposure in the community. Election training. Catherine Gibb is our elections committee chair. and also our primary election administrator. And she has put together a team of people, and there's more people wanting to be part of election poll readers and poll watchers and election judges, and they're putting together a great team of people. And there's trainings coming up this week and next week. And Melissa Conway from RNC is coming down to do election law trainings, so people can understand what they can do and what they should not do. They're not supposed to go harass the election judge and things like that. So there are lines to what they can do, right? So she's going to come over, and she's promised to be here at least twice and set up election trainings. So that's coming up. Events. We have an events team now, and so as Mark was leaving, before that 4 or 5 months, he put together a committee structure that there's about 16 committees that pretty much functions as the Collin GOP's everything. It's a committee structure now. It used to be vice chairs and chairman and the precinct chairs. Now it's all committees. So that committee structure, there's an events committee, and they're looking at having even multiple events at the same day, because a lot of events happens over a weekend, and there's one in Plano, one in McKinney, and so there's plenty of people volunteered to be part of that committee, and they're working on that. So we have built a calendar for the entire Victory 2022. We will publish that on March 2nd, right after the primary. So waiting for that, so we can push that out. And it is basically everything we do in 2022 Victory will be based on precincts, because that is the smallest demographics area we can get data on. So in Plano, this may be a good Republican precinct, across the street will be a Democrat. So there's no point in block walking here 10 times, because all you need is a GOTV block. The other side, we probably need to contact 20 times before we can get some conversion to the Republican side, or answer some questions and things like that. So everything will work based on precinct level. And Campaign Sidekick is the software we're using. A lot of the campaigns are already using that. We will have multi-survey based on demographics. So that's one thing we wanted last term, and I know, what was that? What was the name of the software? Advantage didn't have that, so this was one of the things we really wanted, and Texas GOP was gracious enough to do that research, and they're pushing Campaign Sidekick, and it has, so if you go to an area where all the homes are $200,000 homes, your survey, the questions you ask there, it won't be same as when you go to a home, there's, it's valued at $1 million. The problems of a household at a $200,000, what's important to them is probably not important to the other group. So it's a demographic-based survey. I think that is important for us, because we will walk up to some house and talk about school board, and it's 2 retired people, and they don't really care about school board anymore. So they care about the school taxes, but they don't care about the school board itself. So marketing materials, we talked about a lot of those, and we are going to do mailers, actual mailers, but it will be based on the age and a lot of those things. So we'll play up. So anyone over 70 will get actual mailer. Anyone under 40 will target them through Instagram and social media. Someone in the middle, probably a combination of like YouTube videos or things like that. So there are multi-level marketing that we're building, and our communications team is actually doing a great job for that. They're putting that together.
Quick question. Are we doing anything with all the new people moving in from all the other states? Like, howdy, we're here, come see us, come join us, have coffee with us? Because you're saying marketing materials and Instagram do we have a campaign for the people moving?
It's actually happening right now. So the block plots and the surveys that Texas GOP has put together, like when Adam actually reached out to get volunteers to go and knock on doors, and which he's doing now. It's the only thing he's doing is the new movers. That's all he does. So he goes and knocks on door and goes, hey, have you registered to vote? Where did you move from? He already knows that, but he's asking and trying to figure out if they are Republican. They ask leading questions like, do you support Second Amendment? Things like that. And if they say no way, then you kind of know maybe you're not so you're not pushing anything anymore. You're kind of like walking around, right? That's fine. But if it's a Republican, they're asking for.
Mark your house with a target.
But we should have people moving in.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to the movers data. All the data that's on Campaign Sidekick at this point is the new movers data. There's no regular block walking data on it at this point.
We moved here 6 months ago, and I don't recall anything like this coming to our door.
We have about 1,000 people moving to Collin.
I know.
So
I know.
they're not reaching 1,000 people every day. Yeah, so it's a week, right? Yeah, so it's a process, but so there is RPT has a campaign going. They're actually making phone calls to people and asking them if they registered to vote and if they're moved from a new place. And it also, there are some confusions about it because someone could move from Hong Kong to here and they still get into that list because it's just a new movers list. It doesn't say from California or New York. So data is not that perfect, but they're making those calls and they're making those house visits.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah.
When I go walking, especially if I'm signing up voters, I always wear a Republican GOP hat and the shirt that says Collin County GOP. And if it's a Democrat and I have that shirt on when I go to, I ain't registered with you, when they close the door. You don't have to worry about it. Don't waste your time on it.
Got that.
How do you handle apartments and condos and retirement communities?
So
How do we
retirement
handle that?
communities, we quite have, I don't have any idea. Catherine is speaking with a group of people who specifically work with retirement communities like nursing homes and assisted living. And it's a healthcare group actually. They're a Republican leaning healthcare group. So they don't have I don't have any data back from them saying this is what they're planning to do. But we have something in the works. We just don't know how we can reach it because with COVID, a lot of these areas, these facilities have closed down to anybody other than like immediate family. So we're not sure how to reach that.
Related to his question, there's a precinct that I'm working in where I've got a list of a couple of apartment complexes, and what I'm going to do there is, if the phone numbers are good, I was going to try to sweep that complex with phone calls first.
Right.
Myself as volunteers, do a pre-screening, get more phone, like a non-partisan kind of way to question and see if they kind of lean left, right? And if they kind of lean a little bit right, we'll go back in second round, go knock doors, try to get a face-to-face.
Right.
One of the first things you'll have to do, doesn't have to be the first question, but somewhere in there is, do you still live at such and such? Because those people move every year and a half.
Plus
They may
the
still be in Collin County, so we still they may need to track them.
Plus, the fact is 46% of Plano is apartment dwelling people, so it's getting more and more, we're getting more and more apartments.
And that's why we're losing a lot. It has a lot to do with that, but
Yeah.
transient.
You gotta figure something out.
It does have a lot.
It's in that demographic of 30 and under too, isn't it?
Yeah,
A lot of it.
turnover, huge.
So the one other thing that we really want to focus on, the club integration. There's about 27 or 28 clubs and local clubs in Collin County. And some clubs are not that active, but other clubs are very vibrant clubs. So we want to get our events primarily under different clubs. So let's say Golden Corridor wants to take care of the Plano Balloon Festival. So we'll say, go ahead, and GOP will pay for that from our side. And, you know, it's basically a white label event. It will be a Golden Corridor event in a way, but, you know, it will be funded by GOP as long as all the data is coming back to GOP, you know, they're not keeping it. So a lot of clubs are willing to do that. I've talked to a few club presidents and some of the board members, and they're happy to do that because a lot of the times they want to be there. They don't go there because GOP is already there. But, you know, they're like, you know, I don't want to compete with the GOP, and it makes sense. Let them do that because we only have so much volunteers. And clubs take pride in their events, so we want to help with that. And so create some sort of incentive program where as more clubs participate in a lot of the victory efforts, we will, you know, give them a discount on next Lincoln Day and things like that. So we're looking at
What about raising more money for GOP? 'Cause I know you guys don't get funding from the state or whatever. I think we need to raise more money. Don't hate me, y'all. I'm just saying.
You're absolutely right. So I look at it that as one of my major jobs, in my job description, right? So far, I've met with about 30 major donors over the last 60 days or so. And about half of them have agreed to show up to Lincoln Day, and other half I'm working with, they don't want to be part of Lincoln Day. They ask Collin GOP as an elite organization. There are people who are upset with organization because they had some past bad experience or something like that. So kind of have to work with that, and some major donors don't want to talk to us anymore because we did in the past or something. So we're working through it, and changing the sustaining supporter program from $10 to $25 a month, things like that, or some things like that. So far, we're looking pretty good on the finance side. Not too bad. Our Lincoln Day looks really good, actually. And we have a few people who has made promises that they will support the party, and they're big donors. And in the past, they've given like 5 grants. So I met with many of them already and have calls into a few of them. And that will be one thing that I will continue to build throughout the months. And work on that. Without money, politics is about money these days, unfortunately. You can't have a good message only, and
And our candidates go broke trying to pay for their own campaigns. We have to help them with money.
If I can make a comment, one thing we try to do in the fall is we'll get a door hanger, and each of the candidates gives a little bit, and instead all of them on the door hanger.
Right, so they've done in the past by victory a lot. Candidates come together, especially judicial candidates do that a lot because they have limitations on what they can put and things like that, but the county can put that together for them. So victory staff, victory chair, we don't have one yet. I'm waiting for the primaries to be over to select someone, start talking to someone, I guess. I haven't even talked to anyone. Victory director, Adam will be our victory director.
Can you define what that committee's function is?
They pretty much run all of those, the whole thing, the walking, phone banking, the marketing, the event setup, victory, when the victory committee, when it's a victory year, like 2020 is not. 2021 was not. 2022 is a victory year. When that year comes, victory pretty much takes over priority over anything and everything. They do everything because it's all about getting Republicans elected. That's the only point we are here, right? That's the only job we have. So there's victory committee that's by our rules at this point. that I'm chairing that for the time being. We might, if we find someone, I might add them to the team. The Victory members, I wanted to open to the entire county. Anyone, any good Republican, any activist want to be part of the Victory committee, let them be part of it. Only precinct chairs can vote to make decisions by our rules at this point. But that doesn't mean only they're going to be part of the committee, because Victory committee is, it will be our main engine that drives everything, right? So we'll be comprised of precinct chairs, Victory staff, and the volunteers. Adam is looking to hire one more person, possibly 2 other people, so we'll have 3 paid staff here, addition to Neil, and then all the volunteers. So in about 60 days or so, we'll have most of these things functioning. And this is pretty early for Collin County and Texas Republican Party, because usually Victory kind of starts like what, June, even later than that. Sometimes Victory starts in September and elections in November. This year we kind of started like almost a year, prior to that. I think Brittany came on board like April, May last year. Yeah. So this is we're putting this together a lot earlier than normal. So Victory launch will be on March 5th, Saturday, 9 a.m. here at headquarters. We'll have some breakfast and. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, not here. At the what do you call it? The convention. Yes. The convention center. We'll have some breakfast and we'll talk about Victory, and we'll get started, and we'll have the entire plan laid out and get the HQ and get that going from the launch party type of thing. I'm hoping there's going to be about what, 350 to 400 people there at least. Yeah. So it will be a good launch day for us and get that started. That's my presentation. Thank you all for listening. One of the major things that we will have to worry about in this election cycle is House District 7. Whoever wins the primary, once we have a primary candidate, that district will be a tough district. But it's not impossible. We can make it happen. It's not that hard. We just need to work hard and focus on the right precincts so we can get enough Republicans to polling booths.
Which one's 67? 70.
HD 70. Yeah.
They know about the redistricting, that district shifted way south.
Yes, that district is here in Plano.
It's the purple one.
Yes, that's the purple one. I was surprised to see that the Collin Elections Office kind of put a purple color for it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was intentional or not, but that's the district. Yeah. So, well, thank you so much. If you don't have any questions.
Budget for the county.
Last year it was 150. This year we're looking at 300. We have doubled.
Give to the county instead of RNC.
We've doubled the budget.
Guys, you can tell a lot of research and in-depth Abraham went into that. Thank you. That was very excellent. A lot of data there that Abraham presented to us. It's a big program that we face here for Collin County 2022. But let me tell you, the leadership that Abraham's been providing will absolutely, I think we're going to hit a home run with that. So thank you, Abraham, for all you do. Excellent, excellent. Yes. So ladies and gentlemen, one of the best parts of the Men's Club is that we encourage and invite all the candidates and elected officials, and at the Men's Club we give them not just, they get a little bit more time than just saying their name. We'd like to give you guys a full minute to tell you, but there's always what's called that elevator speech. You know what that is, right? An elevator speech, that's when you're riding in an elevator and you meet a voter, you got 1 minute that goes up and down before the elevator doors open up. So we're going to have all these elected officials and candidates practice their 1-minute elevator speech here this evening. So if you are running for office, if you're an office holder, a candidate, we would ask you please just line up over here, and we're going to have you come right up here at the front, and we're going to give each one of you an opportunity to address all the folks here. So this is always a fun time, and who's got the timer? Tim, I think you have a timer there, right?
Anybody on the phone got a timer?
All right, so
Hey, Dan.
folks, we do have a little timer, not that we're going to like, but Mark Schneider has his phone, and he'll just wave at you as 1 minute when he comes up. So Angela, please come forward and introduce yourself. You bet.
Hi, I'm Angela Powell, and I know most of you, so thank you for re-electing me. So I'm on the Plano ISD School Board, place 2, and because you guys thought I did such a great job in my first term, you re-elected me again this last year. Republican group, because I'm your Republican voice on the school board of Plano ISD. Thank you.
C.D. Mayfield, thank you all for having me tonight. I'm running for Justice of the Peace Precinct 1. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and for the last 23 years I've served the City of Allen as a police officer, and I hold a Master Peace Officer certification. I've investigated everything from traffic accidents to homicide. I excel at everything I do. I excelled at being a Marine, and I've definitely excelled at being a police officer, and I look forward to showing you that I can excel at being your Justice of the Peace. C.D. Mayfield, thank you for your time.
I am Jamie Jolly, and Republican running in House District 70. I'm one of several. You'll meet several of us this evening. I'm a lifetime Republican. I've been voting as a Republican since I was 18 years old. I also have been a resident here in Plano for 20 years. And have been so proud to call Plano my home, and my husband and I have a business here. I have worked with the business community in growing the jobs here in North Texas with the Chamber of Commerce, and also have experience working with the education system here. Biggest issues I want us to focus on are securing our border, making sure that we lock down the border and prevent the drugs and everything else that's coming over the border. And also want to focus on funding education. I think that's key right now as we figure out the funding for our public ed. So again, Jamie Jolly, House District 7. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Brittany Brainerd. I'm your 2020 Collin County Victory Director, and I'm here with Congressman David Taylor's campaign now. I will keep it brief per John's instructions. Congressman Taylor continues to receive the top ratings from the top conservative organizations. A from NRA, 100% from Americans for Prosperity, A+ from the pro-life Susan B. Anthony list. The list goes on. He's also been endorsed by good conservative leaders and organizations like the Texas Homeschool Coalition, Texas Right to Life, U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, and Trump administration alumni like Trump's former physician and Congressman Ronnie Jackson, as well as Trump's energy secretary and former Governor Rick Perry. Really grateful to have their support, and very grateful to have your support as well. I will be around if you have any questions. Feel free to come and talk to me.
Hi, Christian Christopherson. I'm in Texas for Greg Abbott. I'm the Collin County Regional Director, so anyone who's looking to get involved with the campaign, find me after the meeting. Let's keep the governor in office for another 4 years.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Eric Poland. I'm running in the brand new House District 70 that we've heard so much about. A few quick things about me. 11 years in the Army. I was a captain. I served in Afghanistan. I've been to Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and a bunch of other stands and other places as well. I was a leader. Also, I have a master's in business. I studied 2 years toward a PhD in economics. That's where I met my wife. And I left that program and actually got into business. I've been in business for 13 years in the real estate industry. Real quick, a couple of things. I'm self-funded, so I'm not beholden to any special interests at all anywhere in the state. Additionally, I cannot and will not be outworked. I've been putting in 16-hour days every single day, and I will continue to do that from now all the way until November. Thank you very much. Eric Bowen, House District 70.
Hi,
everybody. I'm Justice David Schenk from the Court of Appeals. I sit over all the judges in this county and everybody that's around us who basically this happened to affect us. I am a conservative with a real record on the bench. I have been proud to serve you for the past 7 years. I have been standing up for my oath in ways that I think you would be impressed with. Please Google and see what I'm talking about. I am a constitutional conservative. We have not had representation on the Texas Supreme Court from this part of the state in this century. I was Deputy Attorney General, ran the defense of the redistricting maps the last time around, first in my law school class at Baylor, board certified, everything you can ask for. We need representation in the Texas Supreme Court. I'm proud to be your judge.
Good evening, my name is Jay Satt. I'm on the board trustee of Collin College. My term goes to 2023. And the reason why I ran is because I had 3 kids that were educated in this community. And I want to keep education. In order for business to come to Collin County, we have to have good educated work population. So we need to stay focused on it. And in 2023, remember, Jay Satt. Thank you.
Hi y'all, I'm Candy Noble and I'm honored to serve you in the Texas House. Texas, this time, set the standard for the nation in protecting life from the minute there's a heartbeat. And I'm just so proud of the work that we did. We also have constitutional carry and some other, we had an amazing time in Austin. And so I am honored to serve you. If you live in that pink, the pretty and pink area, I would be honored to have your vote once again. Thank you.
Good evening, Randy Johnson. I am running to be and to serve Collin County as your next judge of Collin County Court at Law Number 5. I've been an attorney for 37 years. I have lived in Collin County for 36 years. I'm board certified in 3 areas: civil trial law, personal injury law, and workers' compensation law. This is a court that hears both criminal and civil cases. I do have criminal court experience. I started out in the DA's office where I handled everything from DWIs to capital murder cases. And since then, I have continued to handle criminal cases as well as civil cases. I've tried civil cases in over 24 counties throughout Texas. I am not a desk jockey. I am a trial attorney, and this is a trial court, and it needs an attorney that can handle all areas of the law, including civil and criminal, and who has also managed a law firm and handled personnel. This court has 4 people that this judge is responsible for. It has a $600,000 budget, so you need somebody who has business experience, who's run a law firm, and who has experience in all areas of law that are heard by this court. I appreciate your time. I look forward to earning your vote. VoteRandyForJudge.com is my website. Please check it out. Do your research. You'll see that I have the most experience. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Julia Schmoker. I'm running for State Representative, House District 67. I'm an Army veteran. I was a proud member of the E4 Mafia as a specialist. I was a public affairs specialist. I used to be a teacher and I'm a mom. I'm from Dallas and now I live in Princeton. This week we had 2 things in the news that were bad news. I support securing the border. If we had a secure border, we wouldn't have had a terrorist come up through it and hold people in a synagogue hostage. Luckily, everyone got out, thank God. And if that situation had turned sideways, we would have had our Second Amendment haters beating and rallying, take guns away. I'm a staunch supporter of the Second Amendment. We all know guns don't kill people, people kill people. Unstable people kill people. Where are some of these unstable people coming from? We're teaching them in our schools. It's called social and emotional learning. You're going to be hearing a lot about that. Destabilizing the individual. Sexualization in the schools, destabilizing the individual. The other thing that happened this week, in Prosper, 82 books were found in the school libraries that contain pornographic and obscene materials. We can get these out of the schools twice. A state bill has come across the desk of people that are representatives in this county, and they ignored it. Those state bills would have closed the loophole that allow obscene images and information to be exposed to children. They were ignored though. But what I can do for you is not ignore you. I will go to Austin and I will listen to you and I will take your advice and your solutions and your problems and I will represent you in Austin. Vote for me, Julia Schmoker, House District 67.
Good evening, my name is Rick Burns, I'm a candidate for constable for precinct 1, which is Fairview, McKinney, Anna, and Melissa, and we just took in Weston and a small sliver of Allen, so our area is actually growing. I've got 22 years in law enforcement, got Master Peace Officer's license, which is the highest certification in the state of Texas. I have 15 years of police management. I'm currently with the constable's office now. I am the chief deputy there, work directly underneath the constable. I've been with the office almost a decade, and I'd like to continue to do that and serve you as your next constable. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
How y'all doing? My name is Liddell Bugs. That is my last name. I got teased a lot of Chippin Liddell, Bugs, Bundy. It's okay. It's all good. I've been there I'm Texas born and bred. I've been there for 30 plus years. Raised my wife here. Met her 14 years ago. We have 2 small little girls, and my guns are ready. That's for sure. And for me, people ask me, why are you running for it? And it's to really supplant the elections for not only my kids, but our county's kids. I think the first way we do that is, I think school choice is a big issue, like she was talking about. When it comes to those textbooks, we gotta get that out of there. School choice is the solution. Number 2, there is a property tax issue, and also a high density issue. I actually have solutions for that as well. And another one is we gotta continue to ban CRT. I have a saying, I'm not oppressed, I'm blessed. If oppression is me building a $35 million real estate portfolio and having $1.8 billion worth of assets under management is oppression, give me more of that oppression. More of that oppression. But guys, my name is Liddell Bugs. Go to LiddellForTexas.com.
Hi, my name is Jamie Angelino. I am running for judge of Collin County Court number 5. I'm not going to sit here and tell you about my background because do you know if it's true?
No.
That's exactly right. So what I'm asking you to do, and anyone who comes up here, you don't know if it's true. What I'm asking you to do is do the research, okay? Because an educated voter is my best friend. When someone says that they handled cases, what does that mean? Because I'm a trial attorney, I have no idea what that means. Find out what it means. Ask that person, what does it mean when you say I've handled cases? If you say I'm a trial attorney, well, when's the last time you were in trial? When's the last time that you had a jury trial? When's the last time that you've actually been in a court trying a case where someone's life is on the line? Because that's the thing that's important. Because when you have a judge, you want them to be experienced in what matters in that court. And when somebody could get a year in jail, you want the most diverse background that there is. And I will tell you, I am the only person who's actually worked in all 3 phases of a criminal trial. I was a police officer, a DA, and a defense attorney. Look at my website, angelinoforjudge.com. Once you look at it, there is no doubt on who the most experienced and best candidate for this position is, because no one has more experience than me. But I can just tell you that. I'm asking you to look at it and do your research. Thank you.
My name is Dan Chandler, and I'm very happy to run for District 70, State Representative. People can say, I have great faith, you can trust me. When you send me down to Austin, I'm not going to stab you in the back. Really? I'm going to sit down if you don't mind. I'm not going to be here that long. I've been to Austin. I was there last year. I was in 2019. I went to Austin because of what I'm talking about. You know what? On this deal here it says, and I need to talk to you. You said critical race theory, didn't you? That's pretty amazing. But ban transgender surgery for minors, border integrity, religious freedom, stand against critical race theory, voter integrity, ban abortion, blah, 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 monument protection. You talk about your faith that if a candidate can say he'll stand for all that. I'll show you my faith by my works. From here to Lubbock, from San Antonio to Austin, Galveston, Center, and Tyler, I've been there. People have seen me in this town right here for years. sitting out in front of a Plano Parenthood abortion facility, day and night, around the clock, in Austin, in San Antonio, in Waco, and in front of the Throckmorton statue. I just sit out there. Why? Because I'm telling you, the devil, we talk about the devil or evil forces or whatever you want to call it. They want to kill us. That's what this election is about. They want to indoctrinate our kids. Those slides up there, I started to say that. We need more homeschooling. You see what that one on this side look like? What are our kids thinking? We need somebody. When they go to Austin, those people are going to have a heart attack about me. Because I'm telling you, they've already had a heart attack. Go look at the videos. I can prove all this stuff. And they will have a heart attack. You know what? They need to have a heart attack. They need to be offended. But they need something. You mean you can vote as much as you want and you can't tell people they can't vote? They can vote as many times as they want. They can mail it in from Bangladesh. Why would anyone want to cheat? That's so stupid. No one would ever cheat. Third graders can see through that. And then they go, well, you know what? Well, you don't like what we're saying. We'll just leave. How about that? I was there. I seen all of it. And I'm telling you what, something needs to be. That's why I'm doing it. I'm some old guy. You know what?
My name is John Montez. I'm speaking on behalf of Jim Herbert. Jim is looking for your vote if you live in HD 61. Jim wants to go to Austin to represent the families in HD 61 and taxpayers and be a voice for them. He wants to fight for them. And Jim doesn't want to just go there and wait till the coast is clear and then vote on particular issues. He wants to fight for issues before it's safe to go out and vote. So Jim Herbert, HD 61, look for your vote.
Last but not least, Frederick Frazier, running for HD 61. Police officer, been one for 27 years. I actually just came from the border. I've been working there the last 2 days, so I still have my clothes on. I changed in the car. There's a lot of folks in politics that try to walk, or maybe talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. We've seen that for years. There's never been an active police officer sitting on the House floor in its history. There was never an active police officer sat on McKinney City Council in its history since 1848. I was the first. I'm going to be the first on this one too. I'm doing it not for me, I'm doing it for all the people that said you can't do something. That said you can't go a job during the day and you can't do that job. That's baloney. I just drove from the border. I'm here to make sure that you guys hear my voice, for you guys to hear what's happening down there. I know what's happening. I'm not going to talk about it or make a theory about it or somebody's going to say this is what's going on. I'm putting hands on people. I've got some blood under my shirt from today. So there's really bad things happening down there that no one has any idea about, but we're going to have some officials try to tell us what's going on. And I'm going to be the one that's actually going to point it out and say how we can fix it. And it's not what you're hearing, it's got to be fixed at the White House and down, but our state has got to do a little bit more. But we're the only state doing something. So if you don't think our state's doing enough, you're wrong. Our state's doing every single thing possible. And those men and women down there working 24 hours, if you went and actually saw them, you'd know how hard it is and what the conditions they're working in. But we got all these blabbermouths that sit here on Facebook and talk about what they're doing here. I have another thing I need to get off my chest real quick. Abraham brought up something really that he pointed out, but we're missing a point on. How many of you guys are part of a Republican club? Any clubs? Yeah. How many of you are part of any type of city boards? School boards? School PTAs? Not one of you. Oh, one, sorry. Oh, that's right. But do you know how, my point is, we're all part of clubs, but not one of you are part of any other clubs. You know how many clubs I belong to? 8. 8 different clubs, and they're not all Republican clubs. That's how you get in if you want to change Republican to Democrat. Because you know what? We had 238 people apply for boards and commissions in McKinney. 238. Do you know how many were Republican? 5.
How many of them got appointed?
all 5 of them didn't show up for their second one. So, but you know what they went to? To Facebook and complained. So we are our own enemy. If you want to change the system, get in it. Quit complaining. Get in those systems. So, Fraser for 61, please vote for me. All right, actually, last but not least, you've probably seen me up here a couple of months prior talking about Don Huffines, who's running for governor, and we talked about the problem on the border that he will seal. We've talked about our property taxes that he will eliminate. Tonight, I'd like to talk about Don. Have you all received this in your mailboxes?
No.
Okay. All right, well, it's talking about Don's actual service for 4 years in the state senate, how he accepted no paycheck, no pension, and no taxpayer furniture even. It says here that Capitol staffers were shocked, and after investigating, they found that Dan was the only senator in Texas history to never accept a penny from the government. And that's the kind of public servant that Don Huffines is and will be. He'll go there to work for you, and that's what he would tell you if he were here and you asked him, why didn't you take anything from the government? It's because he doesn't work for them, he works for you, and he wants to serve you. And so I'm here to share that with you tonight and ask for your support. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a pretty awesome group of candidates, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah!
We're almost ready to conclude tonight's meeting, but before we do, I would like to ask Mr. Richard Dodson to please come forward.
Yeah!
Many of you know Richard, some of you don't know Richard, but if you do know Richard, you will never forget Richard. But something is long past overdue. Richard has been one of the mainstays of the Collin County Republican Men's Club. He's been very active in the Republican Party of Collin County. And 2 years ago, Richard completed 2 terms as president of the Collin County Republican Men's Club. And during COVID and different things, all these things took place, we are here to catch up you for something, Richard, that's well-deserved and long overdue for you. And on behalf of the Collin County Republican Men's Club, in recognition of your dedication, your leadership, and your outstanding service to the CCRMC, I would like to present you this trophy and plaque.
Thank you from all the guys. It's a team effort, right? Couldn't do it without you, Tim. Okay? And Everett. So it's been a rewarding experience, a learning experience, and I thank you very much.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we try to always be out by 8:30, so we're almost there. We're just a couple minutes past time. But I want to let you know, next month, it's February, right? Yep. And on February 17th, it's always the 3rd Thursday of the month, is the highlight of your month. The Collin County Republican Men's Club meets 7 o'clock p.m. right here at headquarters. And next month, I will tell you, we're going to have another outstanding presenter. We are going, how many of you realize that next year is the 200th anniversary of the founding of the Texas Rangers? Not the baseball team, I'm talking about the law enforcement team. So we have a special presentation that's going to be for the first time in Collin County presented about the authentic, real history, the inside story of the Texas Rangers. That is a program you are not going to want to miss next month, okay? February 17th. I maybe said a little bit more I should, but I'm telling you, I promise you it's something you won't want to miss. Very last thing, we like to do what we call our Wheel of Fortune, a drawing. Make sure you have your ticket, folks. This ticket. Does anybody not have their ticket? And all of the candidates, you're eligible to have a ticket as well. Is there anybody missing a ticket? Dan, do you have a ticket? Do you have a ticket, Dan?
I need a ticket.
Okay.
They're getting me one.
All right, excellent.
Five people getting me tickets.
All right, anybody else missing a ticket?
All right, how many of you all know our great membership chairman, Wendell Brock? Wendell, come on up. And Deborah, I would like you to please come forward, just remember, because we're going to have you choose the winning number, if you would, please.
Who's that?
Deborah, right here. Deborah, come forward. And everybody's eligible, okay?
You can grab one while it's shaking.
So if you'll grab that number, go ahead. You read off that number, please. Listen loud and clear.
890-4686.
4686. You got to be present to win. Right there. All right. Well, I don't know. Tim McCord, your treasurer.
$50 gift certificate, the restaurant, your favorite restaurant.
Of your choice.
Chick-fil-A.
All right.
See him for the prize. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. We'll see you next month. Take care.
Get up on the wall, right?
How's your rain going?
Busy.